Welcome to JHart Modelworks and update number 6 for the Porsche 928 S4 by Italeri. It's all about the interior. Welcome to my workbench. Let's get started. Hey guys and gals, Justin here with JHart Modelworks, and at the current point in time we have all of our interior parts painted and pretty much detailed up and ready to go. I'm going to start with our body, which the lighter base color here is Zero Paint's Ferrari Beige. The tan here that we see for the leather is a 50-50 mix of Ferrari Beige and Zero Paint's Saddle Tan. I was going to do just straight Saddle Tan, and it's a little orangey for me. I don't really love the color. So I did a 50-50 mix with the beige, and it tones it down a great deal. We have our pedals painted in there. Little area for the e-brake is all painted up. We went ahead and did the flocking for our carpet. I tried something with several parts that I've never tried before. Maybe it's just the fact that I've not used it, and I don't, maybe I just didn't do it well, but I'm not impressed. I tried using some of these micro balloons, and it's a resin filler. They're just glass microspheres that you add to resin to kind of thicken it up and strengthen it. I've seen other people use them. Paul from ISM used them to do a cloth seat, and it looked fantastic when he did it, so maybe I just sprayed too heavy. I think part of my problem was the fact that I'm not using just a full cloth seat. I'm doing like a blend. I wanted to do like a cloth insert in the leather seat, but you can see I had some real issues with adhesion. It didn't adhere really well. I used Tester's enamel, and you basically just put this stuff on. You put down your layer of enamel, you put the stuff down, glass microspheres, and it's just a fine powder. You put that down over your paint, and you let the enamel paint dry overnight, and you should end up with a textured effect. A couple of issues that I had with it were, one, it didn't adhere well when I went and removed the masking. After doing my painting, it pulled up along the edges. You can really see in here where the adhesion issues are. And like I said, if I wasn't masking, a lot of my problems wouldn't have been such a big deal. I also think I may have sprayed the paint a little heavy as well. The seat backs for the back seats, also done in those micro bubbles. Like I said, I'm not super impressed. So one thing on these seat backs, the entire seat back is wide open. So when you go to mount these, you actually end up with a hole in the back. So what I did was just took a small piece of plastic card and just filled that back in a bit, but only in the part where it sits at that back parcel shelf or luggage area, so that you don't see the hole in the back of the seat. We have door cards, which I just got the micro bubble stuff the micro balloon stuff everywhere. So again, we two-toned our leather, moused off the speaker grills. I did not lose the door card controls. I thought I was going to lose that detail under primer and paint, but it actually survived. Again, we tried doing the cloth on this insert, and again, I'm just not real happy with that, but it is what it is. Steering wheel is just flat back. For a shift knob, which I went ahead and did the leather in brown. Technically on this car, that's all black. but that's okay. We have our dash and our center console. We masked off and sprayed the air vents up at the top in some zero paint semi-gloss black, as is the center console. Then I just went and did some details with my 0.3 millimeter mechanical pencil and some Vallejo paints. It's like some Mecha Color red and some Model Air white. And then we get to the center console. Now the original center console looks like this, and as you can see, the turn signal stocks, windshield wiper stocks, all of that was molded into the part itself. I didn't care for that, so I used my X-Acto knife and carved all that back out and then sanded all that flush. I then went and took one of these push pins or sewing pins. Took 3 of them actually. I chalked this up into my rotary tool and used a metal file to ground this plastic tip down. Drilled the sides of the steering console, and I think those look a lot better than that molded in detail, in my opinion. Have our gauge cluster in there. A little bit of detail painting on the buttons on the sides. So that's all the individual parts painted up. I'm going to go ahead and get this all assembled, and we'll be back to see the finished result. We are back. The interior is not completely reassembled, but oh my, what a day. I started. I noticed that the backs of the rear seats had a paint issue, so I tried to paint them with a brush using lacquer paints. That doesn't work, by the way. Somewhere in the process I got some paint over here on this side panel, and in the process of trying to respray the side panel, I didn't mask off the carpeted area because I didn't want to rip up the flocking with some masking tape, and I ended up staining the flocking, and then I tried to spray over the flocking with the original color, and that didn't work. So I thought I would reflock it a second time, and I forgot that I used Tamiya X22 and not the tester's enamel for the flocking. So when I put the tester's enamel down, it was a whole different color. It was an absolute nightmare. I ended up throwing the tub in the purple pond for about 30 minutes, which was long enough for it to strip the X22, but not enough time for it to get into the lacquer paints. So I was able to pull it out, scrub all of the flocking off. It did not damage the enamel that was holding the micro balloons in. I kind of wish it had. I wouldn't have mind starting that whole process over. So I ended up completely redoing the flocking, and it came out better a second go around, but I am coming to the realization that my tan flocking has about had it, so I threw the rest of it out, as it's forming up into balls and not laying down the way it should. So it looks kind of more like shag carpet than regular carpet. Resprayed a couple of pieces here and there, cleaned some things up, got it reflocked, put the seat backs in, was looking at doing the rear seat belts. I did get these seat belt catches in, which those are supposed to be recessed. Let's see if I can get... This is supposed to be recessed in, but I wasn't going to cut into the body. So what I did was I actually cut these seatbelt latches themselves in half for the rears, and just glued them in place. And I did do the seat belts in the rear. In the process of digging around for my seat belts, I ran across some photo etched speaker grills, which I added those into the interior tub. That came out quite nice. I did the seatbelt latches on the front as well. Also went ahead and added some speaker grills to the door cards, which was a nice touch. So all I have left is to add the door cards in. Somewhere in the process, I dropped the interior tub twice. The first time I dropped it, I broke this dash assembly completely off. The second time I dropped it, I broke the dash assembly off again and knocked both seats out, so I've had to glue those in twice. Also, when I did strip the, when I did throw it in the purple pond, it got to the black on the speakers and on, I'm not even sure what this black piece back here is supposed to be. So I masked those off and resprayed those with some Tamiya LP5. Got our emergency brake in. And I had to repaint the pedals. It actually came out nicer the second time around. All in all, it looks pretty good. And it's almost fully assembled. So I'm going to drink this glass of Oban 14 and look at getting these door cards added on. Alright guys, and here we are, fully assembled. Everything completed. Well, this piece up here is actually in the engine bay. And the firewall, which runs right up against the engine. So I did go ahead and go in and black. This front part was originally painted in the tan with the 50-50 mix. Something else I did was I did the seat belts on the rear seats. However, I did not do the seat belts in the front. The way the seat belts sit, the seat belts actually sit way back here and they go up to the roof line. With the way the glass works in this car, the window is not open, so trying to get that glued up to the roof line isn't going to work. In theory, I could have glued them back here and then just glued them up to here, but that's going to make that seatbelt real short, much shorter than it's supposed to be. It doesn't even come up to the back of the seat. And it's just going to cover up one of these two speakers, either this side speaker or that back speaker. One or the other is going to get covered up, and it just doesn't look right. So I'm not going to do that. Also, the seat belts do sit way far back, so they don't come up over and drape over, so I can't just pull it over and drape it over the seat. So I just opted to leave the seat belts off of the front seats. Center console came out nice. The instrument cluster came out nice. I really do like those turn signal and washer stocks a lot better than being molded in. On the real car, this area back here is thinner, and these seats are wider, but trying to there's no way I was going to be able to replicate that, so I didn't even try to cut that down. But all in all, I think it came out really nice. I've done some dry fitting. I've set this in the body. There are some locating tabs in here, so there's very positive locating, so when you mount it in the body, there's a specific place for this to go on the chassis, so you don't have to worry that it's too far forward or too far back. And I've set the glass in place. I haven't glued it in place, I just dry fit the glass in place, set this on the chassis and mated everything up, and it looks like everything is going to mate up really nicely. There may or may not be need for like a couple of drops of super glue on the front just to hold the front together. Not really because it doesn't sit well, but just because it's a slightly loose fit. I mean, other than that, it looks like it's going to be a real nice build. I've done some tweaking and adjusting on the wheels to get the rear wheels to sit a little more in. They kind of fit, but it looked like they were going to rub a little bit. I am still waiting on wheels from Fugu, so whenever those get in, I don't even think they've actually processed my order yet. It looks like they're running a little behind. They have processed another order, which is coming for a later build. So from here, we need to mount the interior onto the chassis, get the glass in, get the chassis and the body mated together. We have headlights to do, mirrors to glue in, some finishing touches on the bodywork, license plates, and I think it's going to be about done. So probably my next update will most likely be the final. If you like this video, please go ahead and click that like button. Leave me some comments in the section below. I do try to reply to all of your comments as soon as I can. I love interacting with you guys. Also, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please go ahead and consider clicking that subscribe button and clicking the bell icon so you can be notified when I do release new videos. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Keep modeling and have a great day.